Welcome to this data review for our 2022 Turtle Patrol season. Most of the data used here was downloaded from seaturtle.org, to which we had earlier entered information during the season as false crawls, nests, and their subsequent emergences occurred. Here are the total nests overall, 432 this year, along with the daily number of nests. Note that at GTM our patrol is broken up into two beaches, a south section approximately 3.3 miles long and a north section approximately 4.2 miles. Looking at the daily counts, you can see we had some very busy days with 9, 10, and even 11 new nests on the beaches. Even if we subdivide the nests by species, most of the busy days were loggerhead only. Speaking of the species, there were over 400 loggerhead, several leatherback, and many green sea turtles, and one very rare Kemp's Ridley turtle. Let's hide the loggerhead nests for a moment so we can better see our leatherback and green nests, along with that one Kemp's Ridley nest that was deposited in early June. The leatherbacks are generally early in the season and the greens later. The vast majority of Kemp's Ridley turtles reside in the Gulf of Mexico, although some juveniles and subadults wander the Atlantic. They nest almost exclusively on a 16-mile section of beach in Mexico and on Padre Island in Texas. These turtles nest during the day. The females come up on the beach en masse. These mass nestings are called arribadas. I guess there's safety in numbers. However, our Kemp's was a lonely lady. She came up on the beach shortly after our turtle patrol had passed. As we were staking another nest, we got a call that someone surveying seabird nesting had spotted the turtle. I came back and staked the nest. Unfortunately, the turtle had already returned to the water when I got there. Here is a shot of most of the crawl. Note the classic flatness of the center of the crawl with shallow impressions made by the flippers. In that picture, and the picture taken from above the crawl. This nest was subsequently genetically confirmed to be a Kemp's Ridley. Here are all the nests again, 432 in 2022. We averaged 7-8 nests a day starting in late May. In mid-June the rate slowed a little to 6 or 7 nests a day on average, tapering off in early July with a few big days here and there. 432. How did 2022 compare with prior years? Here is a 5-year comparison. Back in 2018, there were a mere 140 nests. The next year, the number of nests increased 2.4 times to 339, just one shy of 200 more nests. In 2020, the number of nests decreased by 23%, and in 2021, there was a continued decrease, but only slightly. For all intents, the number of nests was about the same as the prior year. And last year, the number increased by 180, or about 70% more. What should happen in 2023? Well, there should be a decrease, right? Remember, there was a 23% drop in the number of nests after the last big year, 2019. If the number of nests was 20% lower in 2023, that would be 80% of 432, or about 345 nests. What if the number of nests was 75% of 2019? If so, that would mean 324 nests. All in all then, 2023 should be on par with the 2019 season. We'll see, I guess. When did these nests start to emerge? Our first two were on July 3rd. The number of new emergences rose over the course of 3 weeks with some high days and low days. It is standard practice to evaluate or inventory the nests 3 days post-emergence. On July 23rd, we had 16 emergences, which included the Kemp's Ridley. 3 days later, 3 people went out on ATVs. 1 person walked to a few nests that were near the beginning of the south section. 1 person who lives on the beach evaluated one near her place, and 1 person rode his bike from the middle beach lot north on A1A to the emergency access point and worked its way south on the beach, evaluating several nests along the way. Along with all those evaluations, there were 3 new loggerhead nests that day. For several weeks thereafter, we averaged about 6 new emergencies each day. On the very busy days, others often assisted the regularly scheduled patrol teams with evaluations. The rate of emergencies dropped starting towards the end of August, dropping to 1, 2, 3, or none each day during September until Ian hit. There were more evaluations than emergencies because the emergencies of some nests were not detected or they were false crawls all along. Nevertheless, they were still evaluated at 70 days if loggerhead and 80 days if green or leatherback. Let's break down some of the numbers. Of those 432 nests, 97 were non-verified. A verified nest is one for which we have confirmed that there are eggs in the nest. It is our standard practice to remove the top egg of the loggerhead nest for DNA and other analyses. However, we do not do that for green and leatherback turtle nests. The Kemp's Ridley was assumed verified since eggs were seen being laid. If we think a loggerhead crawls a nest but could not find the top egg of the clutch, we mark it as non-verified. Looking more closely at the non-verified loggerheads, CC here on the graph, we see that 45 of them actually emerged. However, 28 of the so-called non-verified nests never emerged. They were false crawls all along. We had misread them as nests. It turns out there was one nesting crawl that we entirely missed on our patrol. We call that a wild nest. While 432 crawls were nests, there were actually 765 crawls in total, 333 being false crawls. It is very common for turtles to rise up on the beach to dig a nest, but for various reasons they decide not to. They are spooked by something, or they decided the sand is just not right for them. The turtles turn around and head back out to sea, so 44% of all the crawls were false. It turned out that 11 of the crawls that we interpreted as false were nests all along. These 11 became part of the 432. In the system, the false crawls were changed to nests. Throughout the nesting season, the ratio of false crawls, the dashed blue line, to the total nests, the double orange line, remain more or less constant. This has been an overall review of the sea turtle nesting and emergences for 2022. Follow-ups will discuss crawl distributions along the beaches and differences in the incubation times depending on beach location.